गौर निताई की, भगवान की, गुरु परंपरा की जय, प्रभुपाद की जय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय।
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 नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
नरं चैव नरोत्तमं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्।
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवती उत्तम श्लोके
भगवते उत्तमश्लोके
भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी
भक्ते भवति नैष्टिकी।
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय
देवकी नन्दनाय च
देवकी नन्दनाय च
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
नन्दगोपकुमाराय
गोविन्दाय नमो नमः।
गोविन्दाय नमो नमः।
Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 8, Verse 25. Vipada santu tata sattvat
विपदा सन्तु तत्सत्त्वा
tatra tatra jagat guru
तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरु
bhavato darshanam yat shyat
भवतो दर्शनं यत् स्यात्
apunarbhava darshanam
अपूर्णभवदर्शनम्
vipada santu tat sattvat
विपदा सन्तु तत्सत्त्वा
tatra tatra jagat guru
तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरु
bhavato darshanam yat shyat
भवतो दर्शनं यत् स्यात्
apunarbhava darshanam
अपूर्णभवदर्शनम्
vipada santu tata sattvat tatra tatra jagat guru
तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरु
bhavato darshanam yat shyat
भवतो दर्शनं यत् स्यात्
apunarbhava darshanam.
अपूर्णभवदर्शनम् विपदः सन्तु तत्सत्त्वात्
Vipada santu tata sattvat
तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरु
tatra tatra jagat guru
भवतो दर्शनं यत् स्यात्
bhavato darshanam yat shyat
अपूर्णभवदर्शनम्
apunarbhava darshanam.
विपद संतो तत्सत्त्वात्
विपदः सन्तु तत्सत्त्वात्
तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरु
तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरु
भवति दर्शनं यत् स्यात्
bhavato darshanam yat shyat
अपूर्णभावदर्शनम्
apunarbhava
विपदो सन्तु ताशाश्वत
vipada santu tata sattvat
तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरु
tatra tatra jagat guru
भवतो दर्शनं यत्सया
bhavato darshanam yat shyat
अपुनर्भाव दर्शना
apunarbhava darshanam.
विपदः सन्तु ताः सश्वत्
Vipada santu tata sattvat
तत्र तत्र जगद्गुरो
tatra tatra jagat guru
भवतो दर्शनं यत् स्यात्
bhavato darshanam yat shyat
पुनर्भव दर्शनम्
apunarbhava darshanam.
विपदः सन्तु ताः सश्वत्
Vipada santu tata sattvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yat shyat apunarbhava darshanam. Okay, synonyms. Vipada
Vipradah,
calamities,
calamities,
santu,
santu,
let there be,
let there be,
tat,
Tat
all, shashvat,
shashvat,
again and again,
again and again,
tatra,
tatra,
there,
there,
tatra,
tatra,
and there,
and there,
Jagat Guru,
Jagadguru,
O Lord of the universe,
O Lord of the universe,
Bhavata,
Bhavata,
your
your
darshanam,
darshanam,
meeting,
meeting,
yat,
yet,
that which,
that which
yat,
Syat
is,
is
apuna,
Punaha
not again,
not again,
Bhava darshanam,
Bhavadarshanam,
seeing repetition of birth and death.
seeing repetition of birth and death.
Translation. I will repeat. I will request everyone to repeat. I wish all
I wish that all
those calamities
those calamities
would happen
would happen
again and again,
again and again,
so that
so that
we could see
we could see
you again and again.
you
again and
again.
again.
For seeing you means
For seeing you means
that
That
we no longer
we will no longer
see repeated birth and death.
see repeated births and deaths.
Purport by His Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada. Generally, the distressed, the needy, the intelligent, and the inquisitive who have performed some pious activities worship or begin to worship the Lord. Others who are thriving on misdeeds only, regardless of status, cannot approach the Supreme due to being misled by the illusory energy. Therefore, for a pious person, if there is some calamities, there is no other alternate than to take shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord. Constantly remembering the lotus feet of the Lord's mean preparing for liberation from birth and death. Therefore, even though there are so-called calamities, they are welcome because they give us an opportunity to remember the Lord, which means liberation. One who has taken shelter of the lotus feet of the Lord, which are accepted as the most suitable boat for crossing the ocean of near-science, can achieve liberation as easily as one leaps over the holes made by the hoofs of a calf. Such persons are meant to reside in an abode of the Lord, and they have nothing to do with the place where there is danger in every step. This material world is certified by the Lord in Bhagavad Gita as dangerous place full of calamities. Less intelligent person prepare plan to adjust to those calamities without knowing that the nature of this place is itself full of calamities. They have no information of the abode of the Lord, which is full of bliss and without trace of calamities. The duty of the same person, therefore, is to be undisturbed by the worldly calamities which are sure to happen in all circumstances. Suffering all sorts of unavoidable misfortunes, one should make progress in spiritual realization, because that is the mission of human life. The spirit soul is transcendental to all material calamities. Therefore, the so-called calamities are called false. A man may see a tiger swallowing him in a dream, and he may cry for this calamity. Actually, there is no tiger. There is no suffering. It is simply a case of a dream. In the same way, all calamities of the life are said to be dreams. If someone is lucky enough to get in touch with the Lord by devotional service, it is all gain. Contact with the Lord by any one of the 9 devotional service is always a forward step on the path going back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Swapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Katamahyam Tatasi Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Gurun Shri Uda Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupam Sagajatam Sagana Raghunatam Vidam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadudam Parijana Sakitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vidamcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namaste Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpa Tarubhyasya Kripa Sindhu Vacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome you all for the Sunday morning Bhagavatam class. We must be coming to the end of the year 2025. Nice to see so many people around. Yeah. And today we have one of the exalted verses in Srimad Bhagavadam. I have no qualification to speak about this verse, but it is a fortunate blessing of Prabhupada and the Gurus that I got the opportunity to speak of some realization with the blessings of senior devotees. Some little words I speak from the mouth would help to inspire you. Okay, today we are talking about Kunti Maharani's prayers, right? So Bhagavatam, generally in scriptures, there are so many prayers, you know. We can think of any other prayers, any prayers. What are some prayers we have in scriptures?
Gajendra prayers.
Gajendra prayers, no?
Nagapatani prayer.
Yeah.
Dhruv Maharaj prayers.
Sorry?
Dhruv
Dhruv Maharaj prayers, yeah.
Prahlad.
Yeah.
Vritasura.
There are so many. Even Bhagavad Gita, Song of God, there are so many prayers, and that in that Arjuna's prayer is there, and Uddhava Gita is there, Venu Gita is there. So many prayers, right? And you all mentioned from Bhagavatam. Alright. So what are the unique, we talk about unique selling, USP, that's the term they generally use in marketing. So what is in the scriptures, what are the unique highlights of this? So Prabhu said Gajendra's prayer, right? So Gajendra, what is the situation in which he was praying? A life-threatening crisis. So he was in full of misery and he wants something. So there is pure bhakti arised. He had that bhakti within, but that came out spontaneously there. Then we have another prayer like Bhishma's prayer. Actually, the next chapter we are going to talk about that. Bhishma Shruti. So there, at the end of final moment of the battlefield, you're just holding his life there, and final moment of the battlefield, he's conscious of the devotional surrender he's doing. So what is his purpose? He desires to invest his thinking, feeling and willing in the Lord. And not only that, he's giving that others to Yudhishthira Maharajas and everyone about that. Then Arjuna's prayers. We have seen Arjuna's prayers even in 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and also in the previous chapter, when Ashwatthama releases the Brahmastra. Again, Arjuna is talking about the prayer. So what is his purpose? He is looking for some solution. Even Bhagavad Gita, and even for this, what happened when the Brahmastra was released. So he is looking after some solution, some guidance from them. Then, what else? Then Uttara's prayer. We have seen again in the previous chapter. What is that Uttara's prayer is talking about? So she didn't pray for herself. She prayed for the son in his womb, in her womb, right? So what for? For the protection. So that was the person. She had so much faith in Krishna, and she had so many. Her father-in-law was there. Her husband is not there, but her great father-in-laws, everyone were there. But then she was praying to Krishna there. So each of these prayers are very unique. So then last is we are coming today. We are talking about Kunti Devi's prayer. So Kunti Devi's prayer is coming from gratitude. Now when is she speaking? Like after Krishna saved the son of Uttara. After that now Krishna is trying to lead them. So she wants to persevere. The purpose of her prayer is persevere to keep Krishna not from going away from them. So she is remembering all the things which have been done earlier. So these are some of the examples of the unique manifestation of divine surrender. All of them, if you see common thread is they all surrendered. They all surrendered to Krishna. And each one of their surrender is tailor-made according to the context of their life. So yet they are united in one theme, that the soul is fully reliance on the Lord. So we are reliance of the Lord. That's the understanding we have to take. Our soul is fully reliant. We have to rely on the Lord. So this is talking about the general prayers. So we come back to Kunti Maharani's prayers. Kunti Shruti. Right? So there are so many points in which there are 26 verses in this series of prayers which Kunti Maharani is giving. So she is first talking about the philosophical vision of the Lord. So she reveals the deep metaphysics nature of the Lord. So in the verse number 18, she talks about, so you are the Supreme Lord who exists in and outside, Antar and Bahar. So you are both in and outside. So philosophically she is speaking. And then in the next verse 19, she talks about you are invisible. So here one verse she's telling you are inside and outside. That means everywhere. You are omnipresent. But then again she says you are invisible. Why do you think that way? Isn't it contradictory?
For devotee he is visible, for non-devotee he is invisible.
Yeah. How is that happening?
Maya.
Exactly. So that's what she said. Maya is the curtain which is putting up. So for devotees, they can perceive the Lord. Whereas for non-devotees, they cannot do that. So the Maya is putting the curtain. And the next verse 22 talks about who knows all these things. As you rightly said, the Paramahamsas, they only know this stuff. And she herself put in her position is very humble. She says, I am a woman, what can I do? I am not an intelligent person at all. So I cannot know the Lord. But she is the one who knows the Lord very much than all of us. Right? And then she talks about the next is talk about the devotional intimacy and guidance, gratitude she has towards Krishna. Although fully aware of his transcendental, she speaks with personal tone, honoring his roles in her life and a family salvation. So there in the verse number 21 to 25, she's talking about these stuff, like how the intimacy she is there with Krishna. She is actually says the auntie, right? She is an aunt of Krishna. But then she compares herself with Devaki, the mother of Krishna. She said it is very fortunate. These verses talking about the fortunate in nature in that they had the relationship with Krishna. So your mother was very fortunate to get such a kind of a son. Then she talks about I am also fortunate because you are coming to me. Then she says, I am more fortunate than Devaki because Krishna did not, the sixth child of Devaki, they were all killed by Kamsa, right? Devaki didn't, Krishna didn't protect, whereas you protected all my children. All Pandavas were protected by you. So I am more fortunate, that's what she's trying to say. And in the previous book, she talks about, how they were protected, right? So anyone remembers 24th verse talks about how the Pandavas were protected. She gives some example. Exactly.
I don't remember the verse, but
Exactly. 24th verse, the previous verse talks about poison was first given. Vipad. Poison was given. They were given poison and they kicked the Duryodhanas and all. They fed Bhima that, and then he was thrown into the river. And he was saved by all the serpents in the river. That's a big story. And then, as Mataji said, they built a house and asked them to go. We got a very beautiful house for you. You should go there and live. And that house was made of shellac. And if they put a fire, it will all, in a second, it will drum. So they were saved. Who saved them? Krishna saved. Through Vidura. Vidura knew about it, and then he made an underground channel so that they escaped before the fire. So many calamities were there, and they were all saved. So the repeated calamities were saved. And next talks about the synthesis of knowledge and devotion, what she had. She combined the profound spiritual insight with heartfelt reverence, a model of bhakti informed by jnana, whatever knowledge. So she talks about who can be easily approached. The next verse is going to talk about that. I didn't cover this verse, we'll get into detail of that. The next verse talks about who can be able to approach the Lord. So she uses a very famous term called akinchana gochara. So one who is akinchana means, kinchana means one who possesses or attached to something. Akinchana means he has nothing. So he doesn't possess anything. So she says, if someone without any attachment or totally materially exhausted. So akinchana means materially you are exhausted. Such a person will be able to get Krishna. So they are very humble and they seek protection from him. So those with high birth, those with beauty, both with physical, janma, Aishwarya and Shruti and Stri, if they have these, it's very difficult for them to get attached to Krishna because they are already attached to these stuff. You are already attached to that, you cannot get attachment to that. So that's what she talks about there. And next is, she talks about the inconceivable and bewildering nature of the Lord. So after the qualification to approach Lord, then she talks about how Lord is. He is very inconceivable in nature. 29 to 31 talks about how is it bewildering. His pastime of bewildering. So even we see Brahma is bewildered. Brahma Vimogalila, we know. Even Indra was bewildered. Everyone was bewildered. Although he is unborn, he is Aja and appears to be inactive, he takes birth and performs a lot of activities. So he takes birth as an animal, Varagadev, Narasimhadev, he born as, like men, like Krishna, Rama. So he's born as aquatics. So many things he's born of. So he takes, it is inconceivable, his potencies are. And we are all bewildered also. So even the death, Yamaraj is fearful of him. But we have seen in Damodar Leela that he is feared of Yashodamai. So he is running. So these are all in the bewildering nature of his. And the last she gives a lot of opinion about the Lord's birth. So verses number 32 to 36 talks about her opinion on the birth of Lord and his activities. And she says she appeals that one should have more association with the Lord. So that's what she's talking, the courage and emotional strength. Despite the grief and loss she is having, following the Kurukshetra war, she embodies steady faith and spiritual resilience. So this is the overall picture of the 26 verses of Kunti Shruti. We'll go into today's verse number 1.8.25. Vipada santo tat sattva tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yatsyat apunar bhava darshanam. I wish that all those calamities would happen again and again so that we could see you again and again. And for seeing you mean that we will no longer see repeated births and death. So this is a very highly elevated prayer. I heard someone was saying this is a scary verse. Someone is asking for calamities. Would anyone generally ask for calamities? No one wants problem, right? So why do people go to God? So I don't want problem. For that only you go to God. Here, Kunti Maharani, what she's saying? I want more problems. So she is at a different level. So as I said, the previous verse talks about the various calamities she is talking about. Great fire, cake, poisoning. Then Bhima was sent to a cannibal, Hidumba, to as a food for the cannibal. So, but he ate all the food. And that's Asat Sabya. So it talks about the vicious assembly in which Draupadi was disrobed. And then the great Kurukshetra war. All these places, Krishna helped them. And finally it was Ashwatthama's Brahmastra to kill Parikshit Maharaj in the womb of Uttara. That's where Kunti Devi starts these prayers. But if you see, so many calamities she listed, but there were also so many other things, so many calamities which were, not where Krishna couldn't save, like the Upapandavas, right? They were all killed. Abhimanyu was killed. But she didn't quote all those things. You see that she only quoted where Krishna saved all these things. So she has no complaint on that. She knows these are all Krishna's plans, right? So, other way, if we keep complaining about what little things. So many things Krishna has given, we don't think about those stuff. Only we think of small things which we are under trouble or problems. This one we keep complaining about that. So on this, I just heard one of the Prabhu was mentioning, when we all do a lot of Bhagavadam studies, group studies or in this thing. So when they were doing some studies like that, the devotees were, excited to see Kunti Maharaj, how she is doing a prayer. He said, yes, I agree with what Kunti Maharaj is saying. Yes, unless calamity comes, we cannot think, Lord. So I mean that. So that person was trying to, talk like that. But unfortunately, what happened in his life, a lot of problems he started to keep getting. He was not able to withstand them. So that's why what we're saying, we should not try to imitate Kunti Maharani. So as a devotee, what we should do is, we should not be perturbed by the miseries of calamities. We should understand that the material world is full of danger. A lot of miseries keep coming, but what it helps us to take shelter of the Lord. So Krishna with much more intensity, our shelter, once the misery, the normal situation, things goes on properly. So when miseries comes, we have to take at a special intensity. So Gauranga Darshan Prabhu mentioned about that in his 3 minutes clip. He talks about we should have our devotion should intensify. So that we should take as an opportunity that our devotion is intensified and our absorption in Krishna is increased. So here Kunti Maharani's standard is very high, exalted position, and she is said to be a most intelligent lady. She fully surrendered to Krishna. She inspires us to also surrender. Not at her level, but at least we take the first step towards surrendering to Krishna. So one of the lectures, I think Bhakti Rasananda Maharaj was talking about this Kunti series. So that time one of the devotee asked at the end of the class, Maharaj, can we avoid this verse only when we are doing the prayers of Kunti Maharaj? So what do you think Maharaj said? When you are doing the prayer, whatever in the same mood we have to do the entire thing. We cannot avoid this verse, that verse. Okay, in this verse, if you see, there are 3 key phases I thought we can discuss today. So the first one is Vipada Santu Tat Satvat and Jagat Guru Bhavato Darshanam and Apuna Bhava Darshanam. These 3 phrases we will try to get into a little more deeper. Okay, Vipada means calamities. Santu, let there be tat all satvat again. So this phrase means let there be calamities again and again. Okay, before coming to this verse, we talked about, Prabhupada, in the purport, initially he talks about this. Again, he talks based on the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 7, where 4 kind of people are mentioned, right? 4 kind of people don't go to Krishna. 4 kind of people go to Krishna. So Krishna called them as Duskrino and Sukritinos, right? The miscreants and pious people. So what are the 4 kind of miscreants? 750. Muda, Naradama, Maya Patra Jnana, and Asuram Bhava Ashtrita. So Muda, foolish kind of people, they are fully involved in materialistic sense enjoyment, and for that they do everything, and they have no time to think about spiritual enhancement or getting into Krishna consciousness. And then the next is Naradama. Nara means men, Adama means they don't follow any religious principles. So again, they don't come to Krishna. The next is Maya Patra Jnana. So these people have knowledge. They have knowledge, but then they don't use that knowledge. The Maya covers them. The illusionary energy covers them. So they use it only for a showpiece. And the last one is Asuram Bhava. So these are atheistic kind of people. They don't come to Krishna. But 4 kind of people who are coming to Krishna are: 1 for miseries, Artho, Jignasu, Arthati and Jnani. So these are the 4 kind of people who wants to come to Krishna. So if someone is having miseries, like Gajendra prayers is quoted as an example, Gajendra. So he was put in misery, so he remembered his past life and he comes back to Krishna. And then Durva Maharaj is talking about the wealth. Jignasu is 4 Kumaras. And then Jnani, Sukadeva Goswami, I think. Alright? So these people come to Krishna. So practically you can see there are another set of things also happen. Actually, when I was saying, when we were small kids, if you don't pray to Lord or do something, generally the parents used to say, God will poke your eyes, God will trouble you. Have you heard that? Any of you had some experience like this? So to get into, prayer mood or something, they will say, God will punish you. If you don't do this, God will punish you. You have to be good, or else God somewhere or other. So we had a fear. Many people come to Krishna because of fear, right? So some people, if you have some big property or something, and you have some nice, beautiful daughter or children, they will be fear. Rich person, they will see the local gundas are there. They try to take away. They come to steal or take away, kidnap the children. So they are fearful. So they play some, they give some money to them. Keep them happy so that they don't trouble you. So it is like that. Prayer to Krishna, because of fear, Krishna, I'm praying to you, or any God, they go and pray out of fearful in nature. There is the next type of people who are very desirous. Generally they go, everyone desires so many things to happen, my neighbor is having this, why not me? So let me get it. So for that desirous nature also, they go to Krishna, and then even demigods, mostly we go to demigods and then try to get them. Then there are other type of people, they are not fearful, they are not desirous because they have everything. So I don't need something, whatever is there, I'm okay. But they have that gratitude, and then you want to thank the Lord, let me go thank God. And in gratitude they go to Krishna or the demigods, whoever they think. And they look, good. Do you think this is a good situation? They have gratitude, they're going to God. But really there is a problem there. The same person, if whatever he is happy, is wealth or whatever is there, it just goes away, what happens to them? he immediately blames it on the God. He says, God, you have given me, now you have taken away everything from me. So will he again go to God? No. The gratitude also goes away. So it appears good, I'm in gratitude, I'm going. But it doesn't go. But who's the best who goes to God? The fourth category. Just for the love of God. Krishna Prema. Just for Krishna love, I'm going to God. So that is what we are talking about here. Kunti Devi in Bhagavatam talks not just for the love. You give calamities also, I keep coming back to you. I keep coming back to you. It talks about, Bhagavatam again talks about, unmotivated love and uninterrupted love. It talks about that. So Prabhupada says about, the third type of category is people who are, they're settled, they feel they're comfortable position, or if the comfort is gone, it becomes jittery. All their bhakti becomes very jittery. So calamities are problem. So no question that calamity is problem. It gives your mind is getting agitated all thing. But we have to tell to the problem what? I have someone bigger with me. Krishna is there. A problem? Can you see Krishna is someone bigger? You are nothing to that. So that is how it is there. So I have Krishna. Even my big problem becomes small. So then what is our biggest problem?
Birth, death, old age, disease.
Yes, birth and death. So this is our bigger problem. This is where we have to go away from that. How do you do that? So that's what Gopinath is saying here next to us. Jagat Guru Bhavato Darshanam. Jagat Guru, O Lord of Universe, Bhavata, yours, Darshanam, meeting. Meeting on the Lord, remembering the Lord. For us it is remembering. So Kunti Maharani says this, Vipada Santo Tat Sattva, because he is the Jagat Guru. She knows how to remember. At the time of, particularly at the time of danger. So she is welcoming danger. My dear Lord, I welcome such danger when I can remember you. Just like again, an example in Bhagavatam talks about Prahlad Maharaj, right? So his father gave so many problems to him. So every time he didn't complain, he didn't tell anything against his father or something. He only remembered, just keep remembering. So in fact, when anyone will think, but how do we remember Lord? Why me? We keep asking the question, why is that you are Krishna? I am doing so many chanting. I am coming to a temple every week. I am doing so many service, but still I am getting this problem. Why me? I am a great devotee of you. We keep thinking that, right? So why me? Yeah, Kunti Devi, she is not talking about why me. She said more me. She is talking about giving more calamities. So Prabhupada in this one of the classes he refers to this quote like Janma karma chave divyam evam eveti tattvataha tyatva deha punarjanma naiti mameti so arjuna. So one should remember the various activities of Krishna, how is his birth. So his birth is not like us. We take birth based on our karma, whereas Krishna's birth is transcendental, is divine in nature, right? So if we remember Krishna and think of his activities, then we don't take birth. Tyatva deva. Once we give up this body, no janma again. So if you want to advance in Krishna consciousness, Prabhupada talks about, people try to live a very comfortable life. Right, enjoy sense gratification. Then what happens is after death, birth. And this cycle, this vicious cycle goes on. So that comfortable life, it could be in the next life, it could be a life of a dog or a cat also. Prabhupada usually quotes this. It should be a cat or dog's life you may end up. Because you're seeking so much comfort. If you see especially how comfortable dogs and cats are in Australia. So if you get such a mentality of that comfortability in nature, you get such a body only. So it depends on your mentality, your next life is starting. So we should remember the Lord, meet the Lord. So the last phrase we are going to talk about is Apunar Bhava Darshanam. Apuna, not again. Bhava Darshanam, seeing repetition of birth and death. So Punar actually means repeated. Apunar means without repetition. Bhava Darshana means material existence. We see material existence of birth and death. So the vision that ends this repeated births. So that means seeing you or remembering you means Krishna, there is no more birth. So Punarbhava refers to transmigration. The soul takes birth again and again. That is due to karma. Due to our karma or activity, we get again repeated birth. Whereas Apunarbhava means the state of liberation or moksha. Where does the soul return then? He returns to his eternal position in the spiritual realms. So Apunarbhava Darshana means the experience of Krishna who grants the freedom from material existence. He grants freedom from this material existence. So as I said, the real danger is Punarbhava. That means repeated birth and death is the real danger, not all these calamities. So that has to be solved, stopped, and not any type of other calamities. So Prabhupada says, even that is our business. Our business, even with calamities, we should keep remembering Krishna and try to go back to Godhead. So we should develop our Krishna consciousness. Giving up this body, we go back to the spiritual world. That should be our business. So to put it in a graphic form, so calamities, vipada, it comes, so we remember Krishna's Maranam and then we get the ultimate liberation. Calamities actually becomes blessings when it leads to remembrance of Krishna. Ultimately, attaining a spiritual world. So in summary, calamities or danger, Krishna certifies, and again in the Prabhupada mentions, Krishna certifies in Bhagavad Gita that this is a place of danger. So he uses the term Dukkhalayam, Ashashvatam and Dukkhalayam. This is the temporary place and Dukkha Alayam. So someone explained very nicely that Alayam, Pustakalayam means library, right? I think I told this earlier also. So how is the library kept? Library is beautifully indexed, right? Now if someone wants to search for a book, how do you go? You don't go anywhere and search. They are properly indexed in terms of the author or in terms of the book titles. Some way or the other they are indexed and you have a catalog, you go through that. So beautifully arranged. So Dukkha Alayam. So our Dukkham is also beautifully arranged. So in so beautiful way it is arranged. So an intelligent person therefore don't get disturbed by this. So they know it is design of the Lord itself that this place is of Dukkha Alayam. So he is not undisturbed by this. He is sure these sufferings are going to happen. And then you should take this as an opportunity to progress in Krishna consciousness. Spirit, soul, for the soul, all this is transcendent. This kind of miseries for the soul. All these sufferings are basically for our body. We have 7 kind of sufferings, we know, right? The 3 is Adi, Bhautika, all these things. And the 4 problems we know, the earth birth. So these are the 7 top miseries anyone faces there. So basically these are all meant for the body. The soul is actually transcendental to all these calamities. Therefore, Prabhupada says this is all, that means this is false. And he gives an example in the Prabhupada, right? We read that. What is the example? He talks about a tiger is swallowing a person. Right? A tiger is swallowing a person, and then he gets up. This is nothing but a dream. So the calamity has come in a dream. So, as though the tiger is swallowing a person. So similarly, a suffering is simply something like a dream. It will come and it will go away. So Krishna, he says, the same way in our life is like a dream. If by these calamities once may be able to remember Krishna, he is said to be a lucky. So therefore he starts this devotional service, it intensifies. And that is really a big gain for everyone. So why it's a big gain? You go back to Godhead. So what are some of the lessons here? Let calamities come again. So resilience through meaning. So how do we take it? So hardship is easier to bear when we see the purpose in it. For Kunti, the purpose was clear. Every trial brought her close to Krishna. So when we see Krishna's hand, any trouble, any problem, any calamity is coming to us, we have to see Krishna's hand in that. So how do we have to understand that this is something for a higher cause. Krishna is putting us in this type of a situation, right? For us to get closer to Krishna. That's how a devotee has to take it. So vipada, that calamity or danger is coming for us. Krishna's hand in there, so there is something higher cause, so I should get closer to Krishna. Everyone is trying to become happy and avoid danger, right? Everyone wants happiness. Is there anyone, even an ant wants to get happy. Everyone wants to be happy. Even a mosquito wants to be happy by sucking a blood, right? So Prabhupada says this is called material business. Ayantika Sukham. He calls it as Ayantika Sukham. So Punar Bhava means repetition of birth and death. That is actually the real danger. So SP again quotes a verse from Bhagavadam, a very famous verse, like Padam Padam, with Padam. So he gives an example of this Titanic ship, right? So it was a marvel, excellent marvel technology. The ship was made, Prabhupada mentions, and it was meant to cross the ocean, right? But what happened to that? It was totally drowned. Well, it was built in such a way, so safety, such huge ship, but ultimately it was drowned. So danger is there. Every part of life we have a danger. So the business of the ship is to cross. Similarly, our business, even when there is calamities, we have to develop Krishna consciousness to return back to God. Right? Now, how do we overcome these problems or calamities? You can see in Bhagavad Gita again, Arjuna was faced with similar kind of situation in his mind. How is that? Prabhupada calls it as skin disease, right? Attachment, skin disease, he calls it skin disease. So there is no other remedy. What is the remedy he talked there? 2:14. So he talks about tolerance. Tam Titikshava Bharata. Matras Parishastru Kaunteya Sidoshana Sukha Agama Prayano Nitya Tam Titikshava Bharata. He talks about the permanent and impermanent portion of happiness and distress, or summer and winter. One has to tolerate. Prabhupada says that is something called tapasya. Someone has to take. Like in a chilly morning, it's a very cold morning, early morning, you have to take bath and other thing. So he calls it, that's the tapasya. One has to take some amount of difficulties. These are some of the difficulties we are saying. Voluntarily accepting some difficulties in life. So Prabhupada says these are the tapasyas people take. But he also says, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't even give this kind of difficulties. he is giving, what is this tapasya? He calls, let's chant and dance. That's the tapasya Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given. So is it difficult for us to do that? That's what Prabhupada asks. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has given chant and dance. This is the tapasya, but is it a real tapasya? So we cannot accept such kind of tapasya. We end up, like dogs and cats drinking and falling in the streets. That's what people are doing. Right? So these are all from Prabhupada's lectures. He talks, I'm nowhere in the question. Prabhupada says dogs and cats all the time. So here coming back to Kunti Devi's so she is dependence on higher values. Kunti's stance reminds us that the true security isn't in external stability, but our inner anchoring faith, ethics, and guiding principles. So these are the guiding principles we need to follow of who's talking about from the Guru Parampara. Even if you see in this verse, it's talked about, what is the term used? Guru, right? Jagat Guru. Jagat Guru, here it is mentioning as Krishna, but Jagat Guru also means the spiritual master. So whatever the instructions we get followed, which is coming from a Guru Parampara, we need to follow. So that gives us the faith, it gives us the guiding principle in which we keep our life going towards spirituality. And freedom from fear. So when we anchor ourselves in something eternal, whether it is faith, value or service, our fear bruises lip. So when we totally surrender to Krishna, what's the question of any fearfulness? Right? So we don't get any fear. So even though we have to understand the suffering is inevitable, but for a devotee, he should take it as a transformative process. So that's which helps them to approach Krishna in the right consciousness. So again, Swayam Bhagavan Keshav Maharaj talks about, one of the chapters he talks about, generally in the world, people say any problem comes, try to leave the problem, get rid of the problem. But in Bhagavad Gita, he talks about Krishna, he says, you learn from the problem. Rather than leaving the problem, you learn from the problem. Keshav Maharaj in his book, that 3, there's a book called Bhagavad Gita 3 or something. In that he mentioned this point there. So also that Sunti Maharani talks about gratitude in adversity. So instead of asking why me, we can ask what can I learn? As I said, this is the shift in which they transforms the pain and we help him to grow ourselves in spirituality. In summary, this verse talks about 4 themes here. What is the true suffering and what is the worldly danger? What are the calamities here? So real suffering is the repeated birth and death, not the day-to-day calamities we face, which are actually very trivial in comparison. So what is the role of Guru, Jagat Guru? So only Krishna, through his bona fide disciplining successor, impart us the transformative spiritual knowledge. So we should take all the calamities as an opportunities. Troubles keep coming that awaken us to remember Krishna. We have to welcome them and as a guide us toward the liberation. So what the ultimate goal of life? Attaining the vision, the darshan, seeing Krishna in everything, of the Lord, that would help to halt the birth and death cycle. So that's the true purpose of our life. Our aim of life is not to remove the difficulties. We should not go after removing the difficulties. It goes away after automatically. And to be comfortable, not to be comfortable, to be settled here. You don't want to be settled here. So material world, as I said, is designed in such a way, it is full of miseries. So learn how to surrender to Krishna, how to take a shelter of the holy name. So less intelligent people only try to make plan to remove all the sufferings or anything, obstacles in life. But the greatest problem is rebirth. So how to get out of this? It is only by remembering Krishna, taking shelter of the holy name, taking shelter of the Lord. And then ultimately we get the liberation, go back to Godhead. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Anyone has any reflection?